What's up, Juventini? Alberto here. Welcome back to the AJC, where it's all Juve all the time. So if you love Juventus like I do, smash that subscribe button because I got all your latest Juventus news. We're going to take a look at the details on McKennie's offer as we finally have some numbers to put forward to it. Ravanelli warns Juventus on Bremer. We'll take a look at that. And then Roma doing some shopping at Juventus. We'll take a look at the three players they apparently have eyes on, and then Conte's name comes up again now around Juventus. All right, so let's get into it. And we're going to kick things off with a player that's set to say goodbye to Juventus this season. That is Alexandro. He is 100% leaving Juventus this season, according to the three big journalists around Juventus. And it is apparent that Brazilian clubs are looking for the player's signature. He may also have an offer out of Saudi Arabia, right? But Sao Paulo is one of the main clubs coming for him out of Brazil. This is one that's going to be important as we take a look a little bit later on in terms of salaries, and I'll show you why. But first, we got to talk about the Roma match and what it meant to Gleison Bremer. That marked his 80th appearance for Juventus. He's been with us for 2 seasons. That's massive. All right, he's been an absolute beast for us. He scored in the Roma match, marking his 13th goal tally since the 1920 season, and that is top for defenders in the top 5 leagues since that period of time. And I can't help but think about how many he's also left on the table there with some big misses. But what's going on now is obviously we know that if an offer comes in, Juve will apparently be considering it. Well, Ravanelli warns Juventus, saying that if you're willing to move players like Bremer, like Sule, while you still have question marks around a lot of players on your roster currently, he really says you need to think twice about that, and he warns that it seems replacing Bremer would be absolutely impossible, all right? And I can't help but agree with Ravanelli. However, that release clause and Bremer's intentions really do change everything, because if his intention is ultimately to leave and even next season, it would really depend on how much money we get in. If we can get more than what that release clause is going to be, fantastic, but I don't see it happening. So if you are in fact going to lose him for what the release clause is, I'd rather keep him around for 1 more year if we cannot find a suitable replacement. But the Bremer situation is going to be one that's got all eyes on it. And Ravanelli warning Juventus. You guys know the drill. Weigh in the comment section. All right, now as far as McKennie goes, we finally get details on what he was offered up from Juventus, and apparently it's 2.5 million euros. All right, gross. That is currently 700,000 euros less than what he makes right now. So as far as him, he is definitely not out of line in asking for more pay or a slight increase, all right? But to offer him less, not even the same wages as he's on right now, I do think is a bit of a slap in the face from Juventus. We talked about Alexandro earlier, and I told you how this was going to be significant, is because number one, you have Sandro leaving, who is on 11 million euros gross annually. You're losing that. The latest reports over the past couple days are that Paul Pogba is going to be leaving. He is on a massive salary as well, close to 12. All right. Then you have Adrian Rabiot, who will also be leaving, who is close to the 11 million mark as well when bonuses are said and done. You have more than enough to be fair with Weston McKennie. And I think if you're looking at Rabiot or McKennie, you have to keep at least one around. You don't want to give yourself too much work to be done in the Mercado, but some money is going to have to be raised too. And maybe Juve's intention is just to sell him and pick up. And maybe that's why they just offered him that, knowing he won't take it. I'm not sure. But McKennie's words after the Roma match show that he does plan on staying at Juventus and wants to remain. So for me, you have more than enough to be fair there with Weston McKennie, and you're not going to get an insane amount on a sale. So I'd probably look at keeping him, and I would say goodbye to Rabiot, to Pogba, to Alexandro, and you would have still a lot of money left on your books in terms of salary. But that's the latest. As far as keeping an eye on McKennie, well, Roma is keeping an eye on Weston McKennie because they're looking to do some shopping at Juventus. Chiesa also on that list, and Filip Kostic, who is valued at 15 million euros. But as far as Chiesa goes, De Rossi is definitely monitoring the situation and hoping that something could be done. The two became close during the Euro Championships, in which De Rossi was a part of the training staff. All right, but as far as Chiesa goes, what we're hearing is that once the Champions League qualification is secured, he will be locking in that 1-year renewal with Juventus. Apparently, he wants to get closer to the funds of Vlahovic, and Vlahovic is at just shy of 13 million gross. He's at about 12.9, and Chiesa is at 9.2. So there you have it. That's what he's looking for, but ultimately it sounds like it's going to be a 1-year bridge gap renewal at pretty much the same money Chiesa is on right now. And this still, and the rumors all suggest that, does not stop either party from exploring the options in the summer, especially with the Euros going on, because right now Chiesa is said to be valued at 40 million euros. That is very, very low. But again, is it not fair for what we've kind of gone, what we've kind of seen as of late? Maybe the Euros change that, and maybe it changes Juve's mind, both in terms of keeping and or selling. Nobody really knows the full direct intentions. But a 1-year renewal should be done once Champions League qualification is secured, okay? Now, we get news that Juve was scouting at the San Siro the other day Morten Frendrup from Genoa, all right? So the 20-year-old midfielder is apparently valued at 20 million euros, and there is a good relationship there between Genoa and Juventus, and Genoa is interested in 3 of our players that could be used as counterparts, all right? One of the names there is Barnechea. One of the big questions circulating today is, would you sacrifice Barnechea? For me, it really comes down to what the alternative is. No disrespect to Morten Frendrup, but if that was the alternative, I'm probably going to pass. Good player, good season for him, very important for Genoa, but I still would probably lean to just keeping Barnechea around because he's got some unique qualities that are very, very hard to find. And I think he's been very, very strong at Frosinone this season. It has to be a bigger gap there in the move that we're looking to use him in. That's for me. You guys know the drill. Hit me in the comments. All right, now we get to Luis Hassa, the talented youngster, 20-year-old player in our next-gen ranks. He has an option to extend the contract, which has not been activated. Now Juventus and the player and his entourage are trying to work together to try and figure out if they can make a deal, because Juve wants to keep him around and they're going to do everything in their power to keep him around. But apparently the player is not convinced. And that's why this contract extension has not been exercised, the option to extend. And now Juve is trying to set up some meetings. And according to Mirko Di Natale, there will be meetings in the coming weeks for Luis Hassa with Juventus. So we'll have to keep eyes on that one. Danilo is even a doubt already for the Coppa Italia final. And we know we are going to be without Manuel Locatelli due to suspension. All right, so Max could have a couple of curveballs that he's going to have to deal with in that final. Speaking of Massimiliano Allegri, there are still rumors circulating that a Coppa Italia win may sway the decision that a lot are speculating has been made to make a coaching change. However, the majority of the media out there saying that Juventus, and I'd have to agree, would not make a decision based on one match's outcome, even if it were a Coppa Italia final. So the majority of the sources out there still saying everything is pointing to a coaching change. Antonio Conte, his name comes up yet again, and it is stating that Albanese says no traces of Conte coming in. However, he says anything could happen. Then you have other journalists stating that Conte is in fact waiting to see what happens at Juventus before making any decisions with any other clubs. And he does say that his stock is rising and that there were recent meetings with Bayern Munich, but Conte had rejected. I don't know. I still stand firm. He's waiting to see what happens at Juventus. You guys know the drill because that wraps up your news break. Let me know what you think about everything you just heard in the comment section. Let's mix it up. Don't forget to like and, of course, subscribe and share the content, but let's mix it up. And I'll be back tomorrow with another daily update video. As always, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Ciao tutti.